Good afternoon or good evening. Welcome to another episode of Reading to the 246. My name is Karen Wall, but you can call me Auntie Karen. I'm here at the beautiful Sands Hotel in Worthing as we are having a special reading of Reading to the 246. Reading to the 246 is a space where children of all ages, including us adults, can learn facts about Barbados, islands across the region, and the world. This Sunday, readers, we have journeyed all the way to Finland. Have you ever wanted to visit Finland? Today we are in Finland to meet up with Sanna Ruhalahti. Welcome, Sanna.
Thank you, Karen. It's great to be part of your show and bring some sides of Finnish stories.
I appreciate it. Sanna is a passionate practice-led researcher and teacher from Finland. She currently works as a teacher, educator, and education developer at Tampere University of Applied Science, Finland. She holds a doctorate of philosophy from the University of Lapland, Faculty of Education and Media Pedagogy. Her professional interests cover dialogical skills, learning design, deeper learning evaluation, and digital learning environments. And in addition, she has been interested to explore educators' soft skills and knowledge. She spent a safe childhood in a small town near the eastern border, which was called the Soviet Union in the 70s. For the first 8 years, she lived upstairs in the public library, and this library often served as a safe space to focus on reading. Her parents read many books to their 3 daughters, often featuring adventures at sea. This was due to the fact that her father was working as a sea captain. He often wanted to convey a broader view of the world to his daughters, of the small villages throughout books and stories. Sanna is a passionate lifelong learner and is always open to learning new skills. Her next goal is to become a better sailor, or at least a wind-aware first mate in their sailing boat. Welcome again, Sanna. Thank you again for joining us. Please share with our readers, what was it like growing up as a child living above a public library?
Oh, thank you, Karen. I have to say that life in early 70s, it was a little bit different than nowadays. Living and life was very family-based, and I felt that the whole community was growing and taking care of those growing kids. And they spent early childhood in upstairs in the public library was like living in a caring community. We, all children of that house, we were many, we played in the front of the yard of the library during the library hours, and we went to read books, we borrowed books, and we participated all those story time classes which they offered. And also we learned quite important rules as a children. We learned to behave quietly and respect also those books. So it was privilege to live above of public library on that time.
Now, here's an interesting fact. The public library here in Barbados is actually celebrating 100 years. So nice. Wow. Now, you're here with us this afternoon to read a story by Finnish children author Trove Jansson entitled Family Moomintroll. Tell us about the story and how this story prepares the people of Finland for the Finnish November and the long winter.
Yeah, so I will present those figures first. Let me find. You will familiarize yourself with the Moomin family. You can see that these characters are here called Moomins, those white ones, and you can see the key person is Moomintroll, and Then there is a Moominpappa, and then there is a Moominmamma, which is mother for Moomintroll. And then there is a Snork Maiden, a female friend, and always occupied with very romantic thoughts and fantasies. And then there is a little Mew. Let me see, I will move my screen. Little Mew, quite positive friend. And then there is a Snufking, a lifelong vagabonder, and always playing some instrument. And then there is also Sniff, which is an adopted friend of the family. And of course, there is lots of many members, but for this session, I will just present the key persons for you.
When we come back, it's time for story time with Sanna.
Okay, let's start.
Over to you, Sanna.
Thank you. One grey morning, the first snow began to fall in the valley of Moomins. It fell softly and quietly, and in a few hours everything was white. Moomintroll stood on his doorstep and watched the valley nestled beneath its winter blanket. Tonight, he thought, we shall settle down for our long winter sleep. All Moomintrolls go sleep about November. This is a good idea too, if you don't like cold and long winter darkness. Shutting the door behind him, Moomintroll stole into his mother and said, "The snow has come." "I know," said Moominmamma. "I have already made up your beds with the warmest blankets. You are to sleep in a little room under the eaves with Sniff." "But Sniff snores horribly, so horribly," said Moomintroll. "Couldn't I sleep with the Snufkin instead?" "As you like, dear," said Moominmamma. "Sniff can sleep in the room that faced east." So the Moomin family, their friends, and all their acquaintances began slowly and with a great ceremony to prepare for the long winter. Moominmamma laid the table for them on the veranda, but they only had pine needles for supper. It's important to have your tummy full of pine if you are intent to sleep all winter. When the meal was over, and I'm afraid it didn't taste very nice, they all said good night to each other, rather more carefully than usual, and Moominmamma encouraged them to clean their teeth. Then Moominpappa went round, shut all the doors, shutters, and hung the mosquito net over the chandelier so that it wouldn't get dusty. Then everyone crept into his bed and, making a cozy nest for himself, pulled his blanket over his ears and thought something nice. But Moomintroll sighed a little and said, "I'm afraid we shall waste an awful lot of time." "Don't worry," answered Snufkin. "We shall have wonderful dreams, and then when wake up it will be spring." Mmm, mumbled Moomintroll sleepily. But then he had already drifted away in a hazy dream world. Outside, the snow fell thick and soft. It already covered the steps and hung heavily from the roofs and eaves. Soon Moomy House would be nothing but a big round snowball. The, the blocks stopped ticking one by one. Winter had come.
Such a beautiful story. That's it for story time. Now, as a mother and a grandmother, Sanna, how important is storytelling to you?
Books and reading are extremely important for me, and usually I like to read books with child or children in my arms, and I can feel when they are really concentrating and they are calming down. With younger children, with younger grandchildren, it's important to involve them when reading a book. For example, seeking some figures or certain things from the pictures. It's amazing thing to feel when the child calm down and you are with him or her in this story life. And I think that reading books, it's also really important rituals for children when they are prepared to have a naps or night sleep time also.
No, I was also a big fan of the library. I remember joining the Bridgetown Library, the Valley Library, which is in St. George, then the Oyster Library. So that joy, the library definitely played an important place in my life growing up. Now in Barbados, November is our national month, and it's also a special month for Finland as well. I know your country is getting ready to transition into the winter month fully. Does this have any effect on children attending school?
Yes, you got the point, Auntie Karen. So I have to say that the winter affects children and also adults too. I have noticed that this time or the winter time, it increased the need of sleeping hours, like in movie story. And also it increased the playing inside. We will be more inside when it's getting colder. And children, they may be more tired in a winter time, and sometimes I think that their ability to concentrate is weak. But in a winter time, in a winter month, we all eat lots of D vitamin, even when we are we are babies. So it's important to take this vitamin as a part of our winter months. And but other hand, it also winter brings joy. And when the snow fell down, in fact, the first snow came last night in our region, but now it's already smelt away. But it's getting started. But the whiteness and snow, it brings joy also. And I think that the snow beautifies everything. And
I love it. I love it. I love it.
yeah, and children they can have their skates and skis out of the storage, and the joy of winter sports can start. And to tell one true story from every Finnish children is that almost every Finnish children has once in their lifetime freezes they don't to the metal. As I have experienced that many times in my childhood, you have to taste how it is when it's cold and when your tongue freeze.
So definitely not an ice cream. It's definitely colder than that.
No.
Now, I know that in Barbados, our children start school at 3. At what age would a child start school in Finland? And why do most people consider the Finnish educational system to be perhaps the best in the world?
Well, you start your schooling very early stage. So we start 3 or even 4 years later than you. So our kids or children, they start school when they are at age of 7 and they go to pre-primary school at age of 6. So they are given kind of free childhood before we are chain them to the compulsory education. It's simply that just a way to let kids to be kids. And if we very shortly think about the Finnish education, I think that the key issues why we are doing some things very well is that our education it's based on equal opportunities. It doesn't matter in what kind of family you are growing up. You have equal opportunities to end up until the doctor degree. We have free meals. We have our teachers are very highly educated and in a pedagogical way. I mean, and and in that way they have also pedagogical freedom to think about what they are teaching and how they are teaching and what kind of methods are supporting just their students and their individual learning paths. And I think in a Finnish case, our education and teaching it's based on that we are teaching for life, not for testing. And this might make sense. And then our kids they have more time to play. They will have a break in each 45 minutes, and that 15 minutes it's based on playing and enjoying of the outdoor activities.
I like that. So learning isn't just book work, but also real life interaction, play, really tapping into those skills that really help children to go on and become more settled as they become older. Now, in your bio, you mentioned that your father was a sea captain. Did any of his trips across the ocean include a trip to Barbados?
Yes, yes. He had an opportunity to visit in Barbados. I haven't had that opportunity yet, but I'm still dreaming to do that. So uh, he visited in your beautiful island in 1982, and I can't remember what that ship was importing or exporting from or to Barbados. But we, 3 daughters, we got so beautiful summer dresses with a lot of flowers as a memory gift. So he was privileged to visit in your beautiful sunny island. But I was that age, I was 11 years old, so I can't remember. I only remember that dress.
I love it. And I'm sure when you decide to visit that you'll be able to get one of those lovely dresses as well for yourself and as well for your grandchildren as your daughter and your grandchildren as well. Oh, so I'm definitely looking forward to it. When we come back, it's time for a Bajan mash up. Sanna, are you ready for a Bajan mash up? Here's our first question. True or false? The internet browser was invented in Finland.
I suppose that is false because even though we are very technical oriented, I think that we are not so much, I suppose, that we are the inventors of internet browsers. You know, many of you might know Nokia mobile phones. Those were designed in Finland, but about internet browser, I don't know. I think it's false.
Well, when I did the check, it said it was actually true that the internet browser was invented.
Oh no!
Do you know what is the national dish of Barbados? And can you share what is the national dish of Finland?
Yes, I do know because I have been privileged to work with Barbadian teachers for 2 years. So I have read that Barbados is very known as a land of flying fish. So I know that fish food is one of your national dish, and I have seen some pictures of that dish, rye rolls,
Yes.
and it's remind me as one of the Finnish dishes as well, which we are preparing from the herring. But I think it might taste different, but it looks a little bit similar when I saw all those pictures. And yes, in Finland we eat lots of fish as well. We have thousands of lakes, so we have lake fish, and then we have those sea fishes, but totally different than in Barbados. So our national dish is Karelian stew and Karelian pies, and also rye bread.
So it's actually flying fish and cuckoo. That is our national dish. Do you mind telling us what is Karelian? What is the Karelian stew made of?
It's made of meat, and this name of Karelian, it comes from the area which we have lost to the Soviet Union in the Second World War. So those pies and stew, it's named by the area which we lost in 40s.
No. What? Sorry. How long is a flight from Barbados to Finland? If I wanted to visit you, how long would I have to fly?
I checked this already 2 years ago, and it might take 16 hours if you are lucky, but if you are not so lucky, it takes almost 24 hours with all those stops.
That is definitely a long flight. Now, I know previously you would have shared a screen of the Northern Lights. What is the Northern Lights, and when is the best time to see them in Finland?
Yes, that's a beautiful season. So the best time to see those northern lights, it's from August to mid-April, and but the sky has to be clear, and around the midnight, it's the best time to catch those lights. And the total figure of those nights per year can raise until 150 if you are lucky. And sometimes those northern lights storms might be even stronger in September, as in this year already, than in midwinter. But when you can experience those northern lights when the ground is white, it makes the difference. It looks more beautiful than the gray early September.
Nice. Nice. So you know the Finnish people, they're known for their sweet too. In fact, you all are ranked ninth in the world. What is a Barbadian sweet treat that you would like to try?
Yes, Karen, you are right. We are such a sweet people. And I would like to try coconut bread with cinnamon, of course, because I'm a huge fan of coconut. And also cinnamon reminds me about living in this northern area. But then at the same time, I'm very curious and I'm wondering how tasty those tamarind balls, I mean. I haven't ever seen how even those tamarind plants or fruits look like.
Well, I can definitely guarantee you the sweet bread. My second daughter, she's into baking, so I know I can get her to make you a nice sweet bread. I will have to grab some of the traditional tamarind balls for you. I know there's a lady, she sells snow cones, and one of the things she makes are tamarind balls. I know the children at school normally love those, so I know that you definitely would enjoy those. So that is it for our Bajan mash up. Now, on our previous show, Simon Says when Humpty Dumpty, Little Boy Blue, and Nancy Drew ain't have nothing on you. So, on our previous show, Simon Says when Humpty Dumpty, Mary, Little Boy Blue, and Nancy Drew ain't have nothing on you. And the answer was a Bajan scene. So you have all these other nursery rhymes, but nothing compares to a Barbadian scene. Now, this week, Simon Says goes, many associate me with Santa, up, up, up and away. But in Finland, I'm popular in another way. So this week, Simon Says goes, many associate me with Santa, up, up and away. But in Finland, I'm popular in another way. Sanna, do you want to guess what it is I'm talking about?
I have no idea. Go ahead.
Okay. Now remember, children and parents, to like, comment, and share on our Reading to the 246 page, Facebook, our YouTube, as well as our Instagram pages. Sanna, thank you so much for joining us. Do you have any words before we go?
Thank you so much, Auntie Karen, to invite me and be part of your amazing show. And I have been privileged to get you know, and I admire all those efforts what you are doing to support reading skills in your beautiful island. And reading is so important. It gets your mind working across with different areas. And by the way, it's one of the best way to improve your empathy skills.
I remember in my empathy badge know that you said that. So definitely, children, thank you so much again for being here, Sanna. Now, readers, remember, reading takes you where your imagination can. Bye, Sanna. Bye, readers. Bye. Bye. Bye-bye.